Now it's time for the first Space Force talent show.
Look at my pants with the eyes in your face. My legs are covered in outer space. Space pants!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to J-Buck Studios, your home for reviews, reactions, and ridiculousness. Anyways, though, Netflix, a brand new series came out today with Steve Carell at the forefront, Space Force. A 4-star general begrudgingly teams up with an eccentric scientist to get the U.S. military's newest agency, Space Force, ready for liftoff. So is Space Force the laugh-out-loud Netflix comedy that is perfect to binge this weekend? Let's find out. But before I get into my thoughts, let me know what you guys thought of Space Force if you've already seen this or very much looking forward to it. Now let's get into some of the good. So right off the bat, obviously Space Force is poking fun at the actual Space Force that the United States has. So I was hoping that they'd do some great comedy, kind of leaning into that. And a lot of the jokes, a lot of the situations don't entirely land. I'll get into that later, but there were some shining moments where I laughed out loud. I kind of thought that that was funny. A little bit of clever things of very much the almost disaster or bad image that the Space Force does have was kind of translated and obviously parodied in this series that I thought was, very fun. So some of the jokes, some of the situations, some of the gags that they have going on in this Space Force are pretty funny. And then seeing all of the characters in this show, Steve Carell, Lisa Kudrow, Diana Silvers, Ben Schwartz, everyone and anyone that's involved in this show, it was just fun to see them on screen portraying these new characters, very much kind of interacting with one another, and I thought that the chemistry amongst them worked fairly well. I thought that it was just fun to kind of see these characters interact with one another in Space Force. However, getting back into that humor, this is 10 episodes, and I only laughed a handful of times. A lot of the jokes, a lot of the situations. Again, you're gonna maybe find some fun, some cheekiness in a lot of the stuff, but personally, I thought that a lot of it fell flat. I mean, this is 10 episodes. They're throwing a lot of the jokes at the screen, and a lot of them are landing flat. I mean, it is tying into things with, the obviously Space Force, fake news, social media. It just, I don't know if it's too real or it just didn't land, especially stuff like fake news. It felt lazy. I'm sorry, but it felt lazy with some of these jokes. And also, it tied in with the pacing and the tone throughout this whole 10 episode thing. It's weird because some episodes are almost steering into some real life situations with like a relationship that is sort of fractured, almost leaning more into that drama territory, while some episodes very much steered into almost slapsticky, almost into a weird situation where like a chimp is trying to fix part of a space station. So it was just weird throughout this 10 episode series. Where were we going with it? Is it slapsticky? Is it a straight up comedy? Or are we having comedy elements with it very much being this almost like serious drama where it's these characters having to sacrifice certain things for their career or for this Space Force? And also there's one episode that just felt like a straight up Revenge of the Nerds 80s comedy where it's referring to the Space Force as nerds and the military or Air Force as the jocks. And it just felt very inconsistent with the rest of the series. The tone's all over the place, and like I said, the pacing very much dies down when it's kind of this, quick, fast-paced, fix the space station type storyline to this slow character study, or not even character study, but relationship drama of these different characters. And the main through line is probably the strongest part, putting this Space Force together out of nothing and trying to make it to the moon before these other countries. That's basically the main through line, the strongest part of it. But when we fractured off into these other characters, the side stories, or the situations and plot points that they are dealing with, it becomes very weak and draws out that pacing and gets you away from kind of what is actually happening in this show. Again, it's fractured off into that relationship that I kind of mentioned. It goes off into an angsty daughter that is sort of coming into life and coming of age story, and just dealing with other relationships and wacky things dealing with characters at the Space Force. Main through line works. None of the other stuff worked in my opinion. Overall, Space Force is touted as this laugh-out-loud comedy from the same people that have been involved with The Office and Parks and Rec and everything else, but man, this is not up to those. With it featuring some fun gags and a great cast, but inconsistent tone, pacing, other side stories, and a lot of humor just completely falling flat. I hate to say it, but I would completely skip out on Space Force. I mean, from the trailers and from the material that they're pulling, even the actors and actresses, I thought that this was going to be something special, but this was just almost painful to get through. In closing, I'm going to give Space Force 2 out of 5 failed space launches. So what did you guys think of Space Force? If you've seen this one or now kind of gonna stay away from it, I want to know in the comments down below. Anyways though, as always, thank you so much for watching. Watch some more videos up there or right over there, you know, brand new content every single week here on the J-Buck Studios channel. I just did a new ending explained poorly for The Perfection, a Netflix movie. Check that out over there. Otherwise, follow all of my social media, like this video, subscribe to the J-Buck Studios channel, and until next time, we'll see you later.